Guess who's in Detroit making a visit today? His name is Aiden Hutchinson. He knows the area.
Oh.
This just in. Michigan Wolverine, and it's due diligence week for the Detroit Lions. It's due diligence week. You'll be seeing that a lot this week. Due diligence being done. That's what normally happens the week before the draft. It's due diligence week. I know today is the day where the off-season workout programs are beginning coast to coast in the NFL, and you're seeing players report for work. It's great to see NFL players back in the building, trying to win games in September through January. Starts today by showing up for work in the middle of April. So the due diligence week is Aiden Hutchinson in Detroit today, and then apparently on Wednesday, Kenny Pickett pays a visit.
Oh.
Now, if I'm Kenny Pickett's agent and the Lions say we want him for a visit, the answer is like, really? Really? Am I going to tell my guy to pack a bag for Detroit?
Schlep it all the way
We're gonna have. Are we flying him out? We're flying him out to Allen Park. We're flying him to Detroit, and then he's going to take some sort of courtesy car. Send him a nice car. It doesn't need to be an SUV. A sedan's fine.
Small hands.
No, if I'm his agent, I don't mention that. So,
Well, the Lions already have a quarterback
honestly,
with small hands.
The Lions say we want to visit with your client. The answer is like, it better be real. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, you got 2 and you got 32. We know he's not dropping to 32. So 2, really? Is that what you're doing? And my question would also be like, are you thinking of trading down?
Right.
Due diligence. Because if somebody calls up for number 2 because they love Trevon Walker or they love Kayvon Thibodeau or they love Kenny Pickett, right? You gotta be able to do your due diligence. What if you trade down and you wind up there sitting at 7, 8, 9, 10 and Pickett drops and you're like, well, damn, we forgot to have him in for a visit. This is why these things are happening, right? And Aiden Hutchinson's there too, because who knows what Jacksonville's going to do at 1. Because Jacksonville, as the report came out today, saw it on Good Morning Football, saw it on NFL Network, Jacksonville still does not know what they're going to do first overall, and I believe that.
They should trade it.
Last year, I didn't believe it. Remember they were giving Gardner Minshew all those snaps in training camp,
Rich,
and that was part of the whole business of like, hey, they didn't know it was going to be Trevor Lawrence. It's still an open competition here, right?
I think knowing what we know now about last year in Jacksonville, we probably should have believed it.
Well,
very good point, Chris.
It might have been because Urban Meyer didn't know who Trevor Lawrence was.
Yeah.
Could have been that. Although that's silly.
That's
silly, Coach. Con, you definitely you had to know who Aaron Donald was, right? But this time around, I believe that Jacksonville does not know who number 1 overall is. Now, I know what you just said, TJ. They should trade it. Of course they should trade it. I mean, you trade down, you get a whole bunch of stuff. But who's trading up to 1? Who's trading up to 1?
That's why you got to make them
calls. Did you see the reaction? I think someone on Pro Football Focus said that Aiden Hutchinson is more athletically talented than the Bosa brothers. Whoa. And the reaction from players who play with the Bosa brothers, like George Kittle was like, tweeted out, like, we need to have a talk.
Yeah, slow down.
And I love him. Aiden Hutchinson is one of the best players. I will name the best players I've seen Michigan have since I started rooting for them. And if I name them, Aiden Hutchinson's on the list. Up there with Desmond and Charles Woodson, some of the best players of all time. I understand that Michigan's ever had. But in terms of difference-making ability and being able to raise an entire team up and make big plays in big games, he is just stupendous. Now, you might also like Trayvon Walker from Georgia because you see his tape and it's not as, game-changing and dynamic as Aiden Hutchinson because, as we all found out, certainly in Wolverine land, there's a whole bunch of dynamic and talented defenders on the Georgia Bulldogs team from 2021. Big time. So he wasn't asked to do the same stuff that Michigan asked Aiden Hutchinson to do, and they needed him to do. And when he didn't against Georgia, it made a big difference, right? And I also believe that Jacksonville does not know who's number one overall right now because of the story that Jim Morris Sr. told me back in the day. They were grinding tape on Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning up until the final moment. And if they were grinding tape on that decision, then I believe that they were grinding tape right now in their building. They might be split on a whole bunch of players because there's no quarterback needed there, and there's also no quarterback that anybody's going to come up and go get that number one overall pick. Last year, I just thought that there was no question. You're not taking Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that's absurd. Even though I just said that they were grinding tape in Indianapolis back in the day on Ryan Leaf, by the way, who's going to be sitting in this chair while I'm doing the draft next week. So he'll have all sorts of great stories to tell, I'm sure. But I believe it, that Jacksonville does not know right now who their number one overall choice is. And if it's Trevon Walker or Kayvon Thibodeau, wouldn't that be something after all of the conversation for the last weeks that he, took some plays off and then he took the combine off after running his 40, after telling everyone he was going to work out and decided that was not necessary. He'd do everything at his pro day after telling everybody that he would work out there, that he's number one overall. And that's entirely possible when it's all said and done. That's the reason why there's due diligence being done right now. And the Lions are doing it. And, the team that intrigues me the most in the top 10, where the linchpin is Carolina. And I'll give you more 2 cents on that subject matter as we get closer to the draft. But I think it's obvious for you. That's the team that can take a quarterback 6th overall. Because Jacksonville's not, and the Lions are not, I don't believe. I think the Lions might, if the top of day 2 in their due diligence week, Detroit's 34th overall. They got the second pick of the second night. If Desmond Ritter's sitting there, maybe that's where they go quarterback. Unless they drop down and they get Kenny Pickett maybe 9th, 10th, 11th. That's the due diligence. Or they love him so much they take him 2nd overall, which I doubt. I don't think Houston's taking one 3rd overall. The Jets and the Giants are 4th and 5th. They're not taking one, and Carolina's sitting there at 6th. That's where some of the action could be. So, my 2 cents on the draft right there. As we're in due diligence week. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.